Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Nick here, and we're back again with a brand new video today. Today we're going to be continuing my series where I review every single Marvel Cinematic Universe film up to the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and today we're going to be doing a review of the third film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise, Iron Man 2, as well as the third film in Phase 1. So to jump right into Iron Man 2, I just want to say real quick though that Iron Man 2 is not as good as the first Iron Man movie. It's still quite good, but it's notably not as good. If you watch the first Iron Man movie and then saw Iron Man 2, noticeably it's not as good, but there's still a lot of really good things about it. So let's talk about the positives of Iron Man 2 first. So the cast that we had from Iron Man 1 is, for the most part, in this movie, and they still do a great job. Robert Downey Jr. still gives a great performance as Tony Stark. His character even evolves in this film, which is cool to see. Gwyneth Paltrow is still great as Pepper Potts, and she's given even more to do this time than she was in the first movie, which is a plus. And of course, Jon Favreau is still great as Happy Hogan. So the cast we had in Iron Man 1 is still fantastic in Iron Man 2. Of all the things that went downhill in Iron Man 2, the cast is certainly not one of them. Normally in films, I don't like recasting, but this is one of the rare exceptions where I do actually like recastings, where they recast the character of War Machine with Don Cheadle. If you guys saw Iron Man 1, you know that James Rhodes, or War Machine, was played by Terrence Howard, and in this one he's now being played by Don Cheadle. And this is one of the rare occasions where I feel like the studio made the right choice. In my personal opinion, Don Cheadle's recasting as War Machine is one of the best recastings in any movie ever, in my opinion. Just the way that James Rhodes as a character evolves over the story of the MCU feels a lot more natural with Don Cheadle in the role. I really don't think that Terrence Howard would have been able to do it the same way. I just think Don Cheadle brings a lot more humanity and charisma to the character, so props to Marvel for doing a great recasting job. We also have some new characters in this movie. This is the film that introduced us all to Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, and she does a great job in this movie, and her character only gets better as the story goes on. I thought Iron Man 2 was a great introduction to the character. I also think that Iron Man 2 is a great introduction to Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. Now, that's not technically Nick Fury's first appearance in a Marvel movie, as he comes out in the post-credit scene of the first Iron Man movie, but this is Samuel L. Jackson's first time playing the character in the actual movie, so it's cool to see Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury in a Marvel movie for the first time, and I think this movie is actually a great introduction to the character. You kind of get a sense of who Nick Fury is as a person. This character only just gets better as the series goes on. I also real quick do want to mention the two villains in this movie. We have Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer and Mickey Rourke as Ivan Vanko or Whiplash. Now, these two actors in the movie do actually do a good job with their roles. The thing is, though, is that I don't think they do a great job necessarily because they're not as memorable as the other people I just mentioned. Like, I remember RDJ and Gwyneth Paltrow and Scarlett Johansson and all of them when I think of Iron Man 2. When I think of Iron Man 2, I don't really think about the performances of Mickey Rourke and Sam Rockwell, although they do a good job. So whenever I do rewatch this movie, I do enjoy watching them. Their performances are just not memorable, but I think that's more so due to the script and their actual performances, but they do a good job for the most part. The action scenes of this film are also spectacular. I think especially the third act. The third act of Iron Man 2 is hands down my favorite part of the movie. It has a great third act with a whole bunch of great action sequences. The CGI looks great. They're shot great. I think they're well choreographed, and I think the third act of Iron Man 2 really is a highlight in Phase 1 of the MCU. It's probably one of the most underrated moments in the entire MCU. Iron Man 2 is also a decent introduction to the Avengers Initiative. It could have been a little bit better, but they kind of start to hint towards the fact that we're going to get an Avengers with Iron Man 2, especially with the post-credit scene and the scenes in the cafe with Nick Fury and Iron Man and Black Widow. You know, like, it's not a perfect introduction to the Avengers, but it is an interesting way to hint that the Avengers is coming soon, that we're going to lead towards some sort of Avengers initiative, and I think they do a great job with doing that in Iron Man 2. I think the script in this movie, although it has some story problems, I think the actual dialogue is well written. It still has a lot of that fun humor and jokes and just little parts that don't make it feel so serious that we saw in the first Iron Man script, and they still incorporate those in the second film. Everything I mentioned so far are, for the most part, things that did not go downhill from the first Iron Man movie, except really for the two villain roles, which are fine. The part where Iron Man 2 does kind of fail a little bit as an MCU movie is the convoluted script. Now, let me just make this clear again. Iron Man 2 is not a bad movie, not by a long shot. This is a very fun movie. This is a movie that I would say, despite its flaws and convoluted story, is still a very fun superhero movie, and I think it's definitely worth checking out. It's just not a stellar superhero sequel is what I mean. As I mentioned, the script is very convoluted and messy, and it has a lot of subplots going on, which I personally feel are too many to really condense in only 2 hours. I actually have them all listed right here. We have the subplot with the problems with Tony's heart. We have the subplot with the character of Whiplash and his whole thing. We also have his issues with Pepper. We have the Nick Fury Avengers Initiative. We have the issues with the government and James Rhodes, as well as them wanting to have an Iron Man suit, and as well as the introduction of Black Widow. That's like 6 different subplots going on that you got to wrap up within 2 hours. And this film, it does feel unfocused and unbalanced at times due to trying to balance all of those plot lines at the same time. Although I will say, though, I think they wrap it up fairly well. I think just the way that they fleshed them out felt a little bit unfinished. Especially, that comes my next issue with Iron Man 2, is that the villains feel unrealized. I said in the first Iron Man review that Jeff Bridges makes a great villain in Iron Man 1, and he does, just that his villain I feel needed a little bit more time to be fleshed out so that we could see his motivations a little bit better. Iron Man 2, on the other hand, I feel like the villains, you kind of struggle to see what the motivations are, and I feel like it's like they kind of hint at it, but they don't really make it as direct as they could have, and so I feel like the two villains in this movie did not get enough time to have their arcs fleshed out, but they're still entertaining to watch when you do watch the movie. So those are kind of my complaints about Iron Man 2. It's not a perfect movie, it's a flawed movie, and it's noticeably not as good as Iron Man 1, but it is still a fun movie, and I do think it is worth checking out if you're a Marvel fan, and if you're an Iron Man fan. It's not a perfect movie, it's not a great movie, but it is a good movie, and it has a lot of moments that are insanely good. I'm going to give Iron Man 2 an overall rating of an 8 out of 10, and I'm going to give it an overall grade of a B. It is actually the same rating and grade that I gave to The Incredible Hulk, which means that in terms of quality, I think they're about the same. They're not perfect, but they're still quite good, and I think, personally, I might enjoy Iron Man 2 a little bit more than The Incredible Hulk, although I think The Incredible Hulk, objectively, is probably better than Iron Man 2 in terms of its structure, but I don't think Iron Man 2 is a little bit more fun than The Incredible Hulk, but in terms of quality, they're about the same. And Iron Man 1 is definitely the best of the 3 films we've reviewed so far in Phase 1. So that was my review of Iron Man 2. I hope you guys enjoyed the review as always. Make sure that you hit the like button and leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought of Iron Man 2. And make sure you also hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get notified about my next videos. Please tune in just a few days for my review of the next Marvel Cinematic Universe film, Thor. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. And yeah, that's been it. Peace.